So I'm going to go through today booking groups and societies in ClubV1. Those of you who join the webinars sort of before Christmas will know that these are designed to be sort of half an hour or so, give or take. And they're more aimed at giving you information and being more like tutorials than any kind of selling process. Now, I know based on the people who have registered this morning, there are some people there that are already using our booking system, but there are also some that aren't. So some of you are obviously joining this morning to get a better idea of how our booking system works, and that's great. If you want to have a conversation following the webinar this morning, please do give me a call, drop me an email, and we can have that conversation outside of this forum. The reason that I was prompted to do this session this morning is that I've been having multiple conversations with clubs over the past few months about our booking system and certain things that they're struggling with or maybe aren't using to their full potential. And one of the things I noticed was that so many clubs were still booking groups and societies in the old way, which was the original way to book in groups and societies. And if I can just go through what I want to cover today, you'll understand why it's important to change to the new way. So covering today, I want to go through the new way to book groups and societies. I want to go through how you will add in green fee rates, how you will book services, so your buggies, your club rental, your trolleys, etc., how you add catering into your groups and societies, how you book facilities, so if you've got a dining room for your bacon butties or your two-course meals after golf, and then how you can take deposits, and also how you can send out pay by link. We're also then going to have a look at the reporting element, which is really, really important. And then we'll come to a Q&A at the end. So if you can keep your questions till the end, that'll be fantastic. You can either ask questions through the chat, or you can ask questions live through your microphone and camera if you wish to. Okay. So the new way to book groups and societies. So the original way was not user-friendly. It was long-winded. It was sort of counterintuitive. It didn't have the flexibility that the new way to book groups does. And it just, in my opinion, just wasn't very good, quite frankly. That being said, I'm now very, very comfortable with the way that our booking system works, particularly around groups. I think it's very, very good. And we updated that back in November 2023. So it's 2.5 years ago now that we updated this, and there's still, as I say, so many clubs that are using the old way. So that for me is a bit of a concern. You can now book multiple tee times, facilities, services, etc., all in one place. Whereas with the old way, it wasn't so easy as that, to be honest. You can take deposits over the phone via Clear Accept, the Moto, which is mail order, telephone order. Again, a lot of you will be using this already. Some of you won't. And in the old way of booking, you couldn't take that deposit over the phone in that booking process. The pay by link is for remaining balances, and that is for Ultimate only. Now, most people who use our booking system are on Ultimate. However, there are some clubs who just use premium for back office tee booking, so they don't actually have visitors booking online. So if you do not have visitors booking online, you're not on Ultimate, you don't have the pay by link functionality. Okay. And you can set up and use different green fee rates for societies, and that's where we're going to start this morning. We're going to look at how we set up those green fee rates and maybe how we can use them within the group booking section. So if I click on there, that should take me into my ClubV1. And we've come into club and settings, and then we're into hub and casual booking and booking. And then we're going to go to green fee rates. Now, within the booking system here, you set up all of your rates that you have, and they can vary tremendously between golf club to golf club. Some golf clubs have lots and lots and lots of green fee rates. Some golf clubs just have them very, very simple and a few green fee rates in the system here. But what I'm going to add this morning, which I don't currently have, is down at the bottom here, I've got my bronze and silver society package. Okay, so that is a package that maybe includes food, your bacon sandwiches, your tea, coffee, your two-course meal, whatever it may be. You can just put them in as a package and that green fee will flash up. But what I know a lot of golf clubs do with their green fee rates is we can add a new rate. Hopefully we can add a new rate. So it's down here. So we've added that new rate there. And then we put in society 1 to 8 players. Okay. And that's going to be for visitors. And then we can set that up there as £50 per person. Now, with this, we can set that for prices for a 2, 3, 4 ball, but that's more applicable to when we're booking in just single tee times of 1, 2, 3, 4 balls. So we can leave that as 0 for now. Then we might have add new rate, and then we might have society 9 to 16. And then that actually, again, is visitor, and that is £45. We discount that down a little bit. Then we have one more rate in there of society 17 plus. We may have more than that, obviously, but I'll just do this for speed of this. And then we're going to knock that down to £35. Okay, so we then save those changes, and we've now got those options to choose when we go to book our tee times. Okay, so that's how we add a green fee rate. The other thing we have to do when we do this is add in the rules for when those rates apply. So we'd come in here, we'd add a new rule, we'd select our society 1 to 8, and you may not allow this rate to be used on a weekend. So you turn it off at the weekend, and then we'll just put it on for the season. So we'll go from today through till the end of October. Okay, and we'll save that. We'll then do the same for our 9 to 16. Wait, the end of October, and save that one. And then we'll do the same for the 17 plus. Okay, and save that. Oops, that was the wrong rate that I've just set up there. I didn't change the rate. And that is our 17 plus. Okay, and save that. Okay, so there's our rules set up at the bottom there, only applying Monday to Friday throughout the day. You could set them up as only applicable during certain times if you wanted, but that's not what I've set up at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going to go through how we actually book in groups and societies within ClubV1. So to do that, we go to golf, tee sheet, and then select. And this is the bit that a lot of people won't be using. So if I go back into ClubV1 and I go to tee sheet, a lot of you for your societies are still just coming in here, clicking add and adding function. And as I say, that is a really old-winded, a really old way, long-winded, and it's counterintuitive, certainly from my point of view. I'm not going to go through that in any detail because I don't want you to use that. So what we now do to book in our groups is at the top here, we have select. So we're going to click on select. We're going to select our tee times, and we're going to have 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. Now, what you can also do here, now, whilst this is an hour's worth of tee times, what you can also do here is, let's say that this group is playing 9 holes in the morning, coming in for their lunch, and then going out for 18 holes in the afternoon. You can absolutely do that, and you just select the alternative tee times or the extra tee times in the afternoon. Okay, we then click on add, And all we get here is add group booking. So we click on there. Now, in here, we set a group booking name. So I'm going to call this the Webinar Golf Society. The organizer, if this is a member or a visitor who's been before, we can just start typing in the surname and you'll see all the different Bergs that I've got in there. If it is a visitor who hasn't been before, we just click on add visitor and we'll put this in as March webinar as a name. We put their email address in there and we put their number in there as well. Now, what this does is this actually creates them as a contact or as a visitor within our system. So we can now contact them through the mailing system and we can pull their details up at any time. Okay, so it's Mr. March webinar there. Then we have green fees. So this is now where we set what green fees we're charging this group. So when we use the drop down, which again, when you use the old way, you don't have, we now have all of our rates that are in the system here. Okay, so I'm going to have this as my 17 plus group. I've booked an hour's worth of tea times and £35 has been brought up there. So I'm going to put this in as 24 golfers. Okay, it then totals that up for us. If we wanted to discount this rate for whatever reason, we can do. Let's say that, you know, we've got the 17 plus rate here, but this is 70, 80 people. It's a corporate golf society, maybe it's a charity day. We can just lower that, overtype it, and it will recalculate that amount for us. You can add in different rates. So if you've got some GCMA or bigger or captains coming in this group at 0, and you want to keep a track of them, we put that in there. And then you might have juniors, maybe a couple of juniors playing. So we put 2 of them in there as well. So that's now totaled up our green fees down at the bottom here, £750. Fantastic. Already, that is better than the old way of doing it. We then click on services and we can book our buggies, our trolleys, rental clubs, whatever we need to do. And we're going to book 2 buggies for this group. It checks they're available and they're now booked. And as we can see, that added that to our services total down at the bottom here. We then go into catering. Now, depending on which till system you're on will depend on what you see in this box here. If you're on the old Merlin till system, what you will have is you will literally have all the items you've got on the till and you will select from those items. What we decided with the cloud-based system is we wanted to give you more flexibility because we know that, you know, societies come and it might be that they are the, I don't know, cheese and onion pasty golf society, and everywhere they go they have to have their cheese and onion pasties, but you don't serve that necessarily as a main item on your menu. So what you do is you add your item in here and you've just got simple free text. So we'll go cheese and onion pasty. They're going to have 28 of those and we're going to charge them £9.95 for that, and again that's totaling that up. We then add that item. They also want tea and coffee. There's going to be 28 of them, and we're going to charge them £2.50 for their tea and coffee, and add that item in. Okay, so now you can start to see that this is starting to create everything that this group is having. We can put as many different items in there as we need to. And then we have facilities. So this is one area of our booking system that I actually think is better than BRS for those of you who are using BRS at the moment, in that when you book a facility in BRS, you have to book in your group on the tee sheet, and then you have to come out of the tee sheet and go into facilities or functions. I can't remember exactly what it's called. And then you have to book it in separately, which I know when I used to use BRS in the office of my club, I sometimes forgot to do, which obviously isn't ideal. I say sometimes, obviously, I only forgot once because I wouldn't forget twice, of course. So I select the facility in there and I book the dining room. And we're going to have the dining room from 11 o'clock through to 1 o'clock. Okay. And save that. So we've got it there. We can check availability and it's available. We add that in. Fantastic. Done. Okay. So that is now everything that this society needs through green fees, through services, through catering, and it gives us a total there of what they owe for this society. If we were to save this booking at this point, it would send a confirmation email out to the lead booker, to Mr. March Webinar, and then that is it. Simple as that. It's done. However, this may be a society that has played at the club this year and have come into the office to say, right, we want to book again for next year. Or it's someone who's phoned up and saying, right, we want to book for next year. Please, can you take that deposit for us as well? Okay, so we can then click on Clear Accept Moto. It will default to the full amount, but we can just overtype that and say we're taking a £10 per person deposit. So we're going to take a deposit of £280. We can then click Include Payment Link on Emails, and we click Save and Pay. Now, what will happen then is it'll take me through to my Clear Accept Moto platform to actually take that payment. And then once that payment's been taken, it'll send the confirmation email to the booker, and it will have a payment link on that email to say your outstanding balance is whatever it may be. I'm not going to do the math straight away off the top of my head. After you've taken that £280 off. Okay, so we save and pay. We then put the details in. Those of you who use Moto at the moment will recognize this screen. Pop my details in there and continue. And then we'd pop the card details in, which obviously I'm not going to do at this point because I'm not putting my card details in for a recorded webinar that's going on YouTube. So we can just close that down. And then what we'll see when we refresh this page is that there is our Webinar Golf Society, and there's the second tee times we've put in there. Okay, so we can now very easily see that this is a group booking. The G's there. They're playing 18 holes. They've got catering. They've got services, and it tells us when we hover over it what those services are. They've got a function room booked, and one or more facilities have been booked, and then they've got a fully outstanding payment. Now let's just go one step further into that, and let's say that they were in the office and they've paid their deposit by cash. I go add payment, and I put a credit of £250. I know we said 280 before, but £250, and they've paid that by cash. Okay, so that's now totaled it up for us. It shows that they've paid 250 and they've got an outstanding balance of £898.60. What we can do at this point is, because we've already sent the confirmation, if we just make an adjustment, what the system used to do is we might come in here and change these quantities to 30 or to 26 or whatever we may do. And then we click save, and it would always send an email to the booker. Now, a lot of clubs reported to us that that was a bit too much. The clubs the societies didn't necessarily need that email. So what we can do now is do not send the confirmation email. And now we can click save, and all we've done is updated that they've paid that £250 deposit. Okay, and they have then not got an email to confirm that that's been paid. That is just taking a minute to save, so just bear with me. There we go. So now when that refreshes, you can see that that pound sign has gone orange because it's been partially paid. Okay, so hopefully that's a lot more clear than what you're used to using if you're still using the old way. Now, one thing I will point out is that we can currently move tee times later in the day or earlier in the day. One thing we can't do on the system at the moment, and it is something our developers are looking into, is if this society had to move for whatever reason to another day, we can't currently transfer that society to another day. It's something we're aware of, it's something our developers are looking into, and it's something we hope to have fixed sooner rather than later. I say fixed, it's not a bug, it's a further development that we need to do. Okay, so that is everything I really need to show you with setting up a society. Now, of course, the reports are very, very important as well. There are 4 main reports that I would say you will need for group bookings in particular. Now, yes, there's other bookings for general bookings and for total bookings, but for in particular group bookings, what we then have, and we'll look at them one by one, is the booking revenue report. So if I go into reports and booking, we have the booking revenue report here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to forecast rather than look back, because I know that in my demo system here, I don't have an awful lot of good data in the past. But what I have got is I've got a few societies booked in later this year. So I'm going to go through all the way till the end of October, and I'm just going to select groups, and I'm going to view this as HTML. You can view this as CSV if you want to, and I'm going to then view that. Okay, so that now shows me what I've got booked in on a day-by-day basis. Okay, so that one we've just booked in there. Total green fees, £750. Services, £50. Catering, £348.60, with a total of 114,860. It shows I've paid my 250, and it shows the outstanding balance there of 898.60. Okay, so that is just a very simple day-by-day booking revenue report. Okay, we're then going to look at the bookings report, which gives an overall figure. It doesn't break it down into green fees, catering, and services. So let's have a look at that. The bookings report here. Whoops. Again, I'm going to go all the way through till the end of October. And I'm just going to look at group bookings on this. So what that now does is it gives us a breakdown of the individual bookings with the total of the booking, the amount that's been paid, any outstanding balance, and the number of players. Now, one thing that has been pointed out, and I completely agree with, is that here the name is showing as the lead booker. So you can see there, Mr. March webinar. I think, and I agree, that it would be better if this showed the society name, the group name. So I have fed that back to our development team, and that is something that we're going to look to add in. Now, what we may add in is add in the group name as well as, rather than instead of, which I think is absolutely fine. But at the moment, it is just showing the lead booker name. So just something to be aware of on there. Okay, so that's another report you may well need to use. We're then going to look at the green fee rates report. So this allows you to see how much you've made for each green fee type. So when I go into this report here, we have our green fee rates report here. And again, I'm going to forecast through to the end of October. I'm just going to use groups. And then that gives me each of our green fee rates that have been used within that period. And we can see that it's been used 50 times, and the standard rate is £30, and that's brought in 1,500. Our society there, 24, £35 is the standard rate, and £720 is what we've brought in. Okay. And again, you can see all the different rates. The only reason there's so few there is because I haven't got too many booked in already. Okay. And then the final report I need to look at this morning is the outstanding booking balances report. So simply, how much is outstanding for each group? And that is this one down here. So we're going to, again, do through to October. I appreciate that most of you will do this sort of going backwards rather than going forwards, but view that, and it then shows me just there how much is outstanding per group, and that's absolutely fine because they haven't come, they haven't played yet. Okay, and that pretty much is everything I need to show you this morning. As I mentioned, I like to try and keep these under half an hour. We've got 5 minutes now to answer any questions that you may have about the booking system. So if you want to ask a question, please do put your hand up and I will unmute your microphone. Or if you want to ask it in the chat, please do so. Okay, so we've got a question from Charlie. So Charlie, let me just allow your mic. Right, you should now be able to unmute yourself, Charlie, and ask away. I don't know whether you're speaking, Charlie. I can't hear you, but if you could unmute your microphone, if you can, if you've got a microphone, that'd be great. Otherwise, if you want to ask your question in the Q&A or the chat, there are no questions that have been asked at the moment as far as I can see, so that's good. I've got a question from Carl as well. So I don't know, Charlie, if you're trying to unmute yourself or not, but I'm going to jump to Carl for now. Let me just allow you. There we go, Carl. If you can unmute yourself now and ask a question, fire away.
Yeah. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Yeah,
you
good,
know,
thank you.
on the settings, when it says when you send and you've got to click the slider over for send email. Is that default? Is that defaulted at to send? Can you change that so it defaults the other way?
Yeah, so what that is that's actually defaulted to send. You have to switch it to not send.
Where's that at, please?
So that's in the group booking itself.
Right.
You can't change the default.
Oh, right. That's what I was asking, because I know. Okay, he's mentioned that sometimes you forget, and then every time you save it, it automatically sends an email.
Yes.
To the booker. I thought it would be better the other way. Then if you forget to slide it, then you go, oh, I need to slide that, and then it'll send. So it just stops anybody getting maybe 4, 5, 6 emails that you've done by accident.
No, I think personally, I'd rather have it this way, because you may want to update them every time you update them, so that numbers have changed or whatever.
You're right.
But
just got to remember to knock that slider off if you're just changing something that you don't need to email.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, mate. Thank you.
Okay. There's a question that's been asked in the chat there by Andrea. Let me just have a look at that. Can I book multiple courses on one day? So yeah, obviously Willow Valley have got a couple of courses. If you were booking one society and you wouldn't be able to book the society in for both courses at the same time, you'd have to do them as separate bookings. I'm afraid. I know that won't apply to many people on the call, but I know it's important for Willow Valley. So no, unfortunately, at the moment, you would have to put them in on the different courses individually. Okay. Charlie, I can see you've unmuted there, so if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have 2 questions actually, Matt.
Okay.
The first one's to do with the food selections. We're on the new ecosystem.
Yep.
We do think it's a backward step that we can't have a drop-down menu with the fixed catering prices or foods. We like the idea of the flexible approach as well, but we do think the drop-down is required as well as the flexible option to put in bespoke or meals that the societies would like. Okay. Because you're having to type it in all the time rather than using a drop-down menu.
Yeah, I can certainly feed that back. But like I say, our decision at the time was that it was better to have that as free text, just to give you complete flexibility. But I can certainly feed that back to maybe add in both. I don't think that would be a quick and easy fix, so I don't think it's going to be done, sort of imminently. But it's certainly something we can look at. That's no problem at all.
I actually have put a feedback request in regarding that a few weeks ago, so it's in the list, I think. The second point is to do with the actual printing and emailing of the society booking. If you compare it to, for example, creating a function, so when you've created a function, you click on the function, you can then print it off. You can then, but as part of the function, you can actually email associates.
Yep.
Yeah. So that in that case, we could email our catering team.
Yeah. Good point.
In the society configuration, you can't do that.
No, I agree. Let me make a note of that. That's a good point that I can certainly feed back.
I've already fed it back.
Right. Okay. In that case, Connor and the team will be aware of it, but I'll try and add a bit of my weight behind it, Charlie.
Yeah, that's certainly the printing off, because we can hand it off. If we get everything in one print, then we can hand it to our catering team.
Of course.
So everything's there, everything's visible. The only way of producing any kind of report is an invoice, I believe, which doesn't cover everything.
It would be. Yeah. No, that's they're good points. I'll certainly feed them back. No problem at all.
That's me done. Thank you.
Okay, so another question from Andrea there. Can the fees be tied together if on different courses, or do I just add fees to one of the bookings? Need front desk to know the total charges. So personally, if it was me, I'd be putting them all on one booking. That's probably the way I would do it in your case. I mean, you could do it individually, but it might just get a little bit confusing. So I would add them both onto one booking. Okay, are there any other questions at all? Another one from Carl. So Carl, if you want to unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, I know we spoke earlier. It's just with the buggy situations about adding buggies in. I know you said they were on with it. I'm just wondering if there's any further forward with adding buggies to sort of. It's not so much the group booking for visitors. You can do that. It's more for adding them to a general, like reservation really. From when we have corporate days, we have people phoning up to book a buggy, but we can't add it to the booking. We've got to have it wrote down on a bit in a book or in a diary really to confirm that they've got a buggy.
So for a corporate day, I'd be using that group booking
Right.
setup, and then you can book your buggies in. Yeah, the only thing that I would
sorry,
say,
not a cop, more like more for the opens. Sorry, it
yeah,
was the
so
open.
the opens at the moment, we still can't book buggies for opens.
Right.
We are in the process, I believe, of rewriting the way we do services, because at the moment it's even for sort of member competitions, it's not fantastic.
No, I've discovered that. Me and Keith have discovered that I've been booking them out for the competitions, but then it blocks them all out for anybody who wants them for general play.
Absolutely. So we are in the process of rewriting that, and it's that is what we need to do before we release it for opens. There's no point us releasing the current competition way into opens as well, because it's just not good enough.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions from anyone? No, there doesn't seem to be. Obviously, if any of you do have any questions that you don't want to ask on the webinar this morning, please drop me an email, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to go through any questions you may have individually. All right, so once again, I'll thank you all for your time this morning. I do appreciate you giving up half an hour. I know your time's valuable, but I hope you found it useful. And as I've mentioned, the recording will be sent out this afternoon. So thank you very much and have a fantastic weekend. Cheers. Bye-bye.